In this video, you're making apple tart tatin. It is beautiful, impressive, and an easy recipe. Let's get started. Here is your mise en place. You will need to peel and quarter your apples, and let's prepare our puff pastry. You want to have a sauté pan that's 9 inches with a lid that fits on top. Make sure that you trim your puff pastry so that it is the same size as the pan, just like in this photo. I used a rolling cutter to do this. You can go ahead and start on your caramel next. Now, to make sure that it doesn't crystallize, you can put a lid on it, but make sure that you check it after a few minutes so that you don't burn it on accident. Once it becomes an amber color, then you can keep the lid off and continue cooking it while swirling, just like this. You do not want to use a utensil and mix because you might make your caramel crystallized. All we're doing is just swishing back and forth, and the caramel will continue to cook and darken. Once it becomes an amber color, then you will go ahead and add the butter. Now when you add the butter, keep in mind that it's going to bubble up and sizzle quite a bit, and you just want to keep stirring. And you want to keep the heat on a pretty low to medium at this stage, because if you keep it at a high heat, you will continue to cook the caramel at a fast rate, and then it will burn. You do not want to waste all of this work. So go ahead and cook the butter in there, and then once the butter is melted, then you can add your apples. Now please take a look that once you add your apples, you'll notice that there's going to be some caramel that kind of sticks to the apples. Also, the apples are going to look like they are not going to fit in this bowl, in this sauté pan. Please don't worry about any of that. Please just continue to fold the apples, try and get them combined with the caramel, and they will. They're just getting acclimated to the temperature. And then once you've coated the apples in the caramel, then you can add the cinnamon and the salt. Once that's finished, you're going to cook these on low heat for about 10 minutes. Once they have finished sauteing for 10 minutes with the caramel mixture, you will go ahead and use tongs or chopsticks or whatever is easiest for you and form the apples in a concentric circle formation. So as you can see, I'm using a spoon to kind of prop up the apples, but I'm using tongs to actually do the formation. And so it looks kind of like a wreath. Think of it like a couple of wreaths, one on the outside, and then you're going to do one on the inside. You want to just use up all the apples, and therefore this tart, once it gets turned over later, it will look really plump and plentiful. This takes a little bit of a while to do, so if you would like to turn off your heat during this time, you absolutely can do that. So once your apples are finished getting in the formation that you want, you're going to add your puff pastry that is now completely thawed and trimmed. Now please go ahead and tuck the sides all the way into the pan, and that way none of the caramel comes seeping out when it is being baked. You have preheated your oven to 375, so once that's complete, go put that on a pan and bake this for a good 45 to 50 minutes until it is a deep golden brown color. You may be tempted to take your apple tart tatin out at this color. This is too light. Please wait until it has properly caramelized and you get the Maillard reaction that you want, this color. So once you get that deep golden brown color, and of course it's going to be sizzling on the bottom, you're going to have to exercise some patience for about 45 minutes. And then after 45 minutes of letting it rest, please loosen the edges with a rubber spatula, and then you're going to invert this onto your serving plate. So please be very careful when you do this, and note that sometimes what happens is some of the apples get stuck to the pan a little bit. You're just going to reassemble those when you can, and once you're able to serve it, please note that you can serve this dish with caramel sauce. You can serve it with whipped cream. You can serve it with ice cream. And the actual recipe itself is a little lower on the sweet level. But if you have a real sweet tooth, then you absolutely could add the higher amount of sugar that I added in the notes. But honestly, if you serve this with a sauce or with ice cream, it balances out very, very well. This is an absolutely delicious dish. I hope that you enjoy making it. It should be pretty easy, but it also tests some very important competencies, which are making a caramel, cutting and slicing your apples properly, in addition to baking it to the right consistency. Good luck!